Okay, so this is my feedback after, I'd say, roughly, I don't know, 5 hours, between 5 and 10 hours of coding, of working with projects and using Ghostwriter. That's the coding AI assistant from Replit. I've used it in chat mode, which is currently available only if you at least if you're on the hacker plan, and then you get the extra thing. It's like 10,000, what's it called? Cycles. It's like $10 a month or something like that on top of your plan. So, but that's just temporal, right? So it's I think it's definitely gonna change because it's, I'd say that's pretty cheap for what it is. So, and I wanted to kind of just basically for myself as well, reflect for 5 minutes on like the experience. So I've used it in 2 projects. One is the quantum circuit simulator. That's a public project that you can go and check out. And another one is an EV route planner that it's a bounty. So that's private. I won't show it because it's part of a bounty. Which is kind of a cool concept, right? That you can use an assistant to help you out in a bounty that's essentially kind of making you money, right? So for this one, it's about building a quantum circuit simulator. So, but let's get to it. So what are kind of my feelings at the moment? And again, this is just again raw thinking, unprepared, right? So it might not really reflect the reality 100%. You can go back and watch those videos that are on my channel where I'm actually doing the coding to get a better feel. And that's just my gut feel, my kind of current, state of the mind, I would say. First things first, it's great to get the most useful. It's proven to be the most useful for me so far to get all these like little stupid things generated for you fast, like things like, can you do these 10 times or for this array, or can you kind of things like loops and stuff like that, things where if you're not familiar with the language, you're going to spend a lot of time looking for the right syntax, then something's going to fail, then something's going to work well, and there's a lot of back and forth with Google if you're not familiar with the language, right? So that might not be useful for some of the pros out there. For me, that's basically, it's like, hey, I need a parsing stuff. That's a great example. I need a function to parse, this string. Give it an example, and it builds it for you, right? So this parsing sheet and stuff like that is where you usually lose a lot of time. So this is great. It's good because it actually does have a lot of contextual information when you don't have to kind of give it a very extensive prompt, and it understands or assumes a lot of the context, which it works for me, especially with the quantum stuff like gates and circuits and knowing some of these things. So this is helpful for. So I would say so far it's one of these things where you can to outsource some of these more low level coding things works well. Then on the flip side, whenever it gets to like whenever it's about, whenever you ask some things like, hey, what, I want to use this library, I want to use this kind of stuff, things that you would usually go to a documentation, I feel, to my surprise, because I thought it would be better at this, it's not that great. As in like, and with the EV route project one, where I'm using the Google Maps API, this is where I think going to the documentation and going through some of the no-code examples and some of the copy-paste snippets that Google has proven to be faster sometimes. As in like, I don't know, it feels like it goes right, it doesn't really nail it in the first place. Sometimes whatever it generates doesn't work fully, or some of the links, be it endpoints or be it like links to libraries to load them and stuff like that, don't always work, and that's kind of a hassle. I mean, it's not a hassle because essentially it's not worse than working without it, right? So the problem is when you're getting used to getting all the benefits of like generating code so fast, whenever one of these things doesn't work, then it almost feels like you're losing something. But in hindsight, if you think about it, it's not that it's worse, because then you just go and look for it on your own. So it's kind of the same as you know when coding before even something like Ghostwriter was available. So and then so this is the worst side, I would say, that it's difficult to rely on some of the stuff. Now, where I also think that it's not the best but not the worst, kind of in between, is the, you know, if you use the chat to kind of have a brief architectural discussion on, you know, what would be the best way to architect these and that's proven well. Like, hey, for example, you know, I'm working here just on a single script file, right? So and I did a session where, like, okay, so how do I make that cleaner, separate stuff in different files? And it's good at telling you, cool, so you could split it in files. You could use then these and these libraries, like, you know, to build that into a single file before, you know, actually using it or deploying it. So it's good. It's surprisingly good at kind of guiding this kind of, you know, having these conversations that are a bit more like architectural, as in like, how would you go about this? How would you build these? And it's good because sometimes that's what you need. You don't need necessarily code, but you just kind of have, like, you don't know what the best way to do or to approach something would be. And that definitely helps you with it. I think right now, and it's definitely been not too long, right? So I've been using it in 2 projects. It's just been not more than 5, 6, 7 hours of kind of work, but it hasn't been all the time coding. But that's really, I think that's really my my feel at the moment. To sum it up would be, it's great at the lowest level of coding, so giving you all this, like, relieving from all the pain of, like, getting the syntax right, getting, you know, the loops and the iterations and all these different things right, which sometimes just takes time to even just type in, right? If you're not a fast typer, if you don't know the syntax, if it, like, this is just, it's great for this. For the low level stuff is so far great. It's awful on the side of, like, relying on links and maybe libraries. Like, it happened to me today, maybe it's my mistake, but, like, it happened to me today while working on this project. Like, I wanted to do a Chronica product, and then it told me it's in a library, but then it turns out it was not in that library, or at least I couldn't find it actually when I looked at the source of that library. So yeah, this is definitely something where you kind of, I doubt a bit more when I'm using it. And then the middle ground would be this kind of questions and conversations around structure and code, around, like, what's the most, you know, clean way to do things or efficient way to do things, and how, you know, what functions could you write. It's awesome. And actually it's pretty good as well at guessing what it is that you want to do when you type in, like, the name of a function, for example. So far, that's it. There's much more. I haven't really used it extensively for debugging. I did have that glitch once where it asked me to submit a screenshot, which obviously it can't read. But that's going to be, I guess, coming on a bit later as I move forward with the projects. But it's been, so that's still a lot to explore. But so far, it feels good because it removes away, it's definitely worth the money. It removes away all these nitty-gritty details that, like, they were just, like, you know, sucking time like hell. So I would commonly say that at least it makes me twice as productive as otherwise, or it makes you less tired, right? Because you spend less time fighting with stupid stuff. So that's basically it. I'll probably do a second round within the next, you know, after I'm like 10 more hours or something like that with working with it, and see how my opinion evolves. But so far, it's definitely worth it. See you next time.